My name is How. I'm going to do the questions 1 and 2. The questions 1 is about creating table and inserting the data. So as you can see here, this code will create a table name, create a table called a film category. Well, since I already created one, so it will give an error, but if I ran the select statement, it is there. So move on to the next one. It will be similar as well, and I will show the select statement. There it is. And also the DVD, there you go, and the DVD rental for the rent information. Next one is the inserting data. This code and this code and this code will automatically create a sequence. It will start from 0 so that you don't have to enter the ID when you're inserting the data. Okay, and this code will insert the data into the film category table. Okay, let's run it. A row inserted. Let's check it. Yes, there it is. Okay, and the same for the DVD and the customer, the rental, and yep. Next one is the question 2. So it's about creating the POSQL for insert, update, and delete data. And this is like the code will prompt the user to enter the information. In this case, this is the category name. So I will try this out. Just checking the data first, and then the category name I will enter is the Canadian one. Okay, let's test. Let's find out if it's working or not. There you go. Well, Canadian inserted. Okay. Yeah, it's the same for the customer, DVD, the rental. Move on to the next one is the update. So I will also test with the film category. Okay, let's test this. I will update the hello category one. Okay, the category is 10. Hello 2. Okay, then select is updated. Then we got customer, DVD, the rental, and finally the delete statement. Okay, let's do another one. Instead of the film category, let's do the rental one. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna delete the rental, which has the ID of 1002. Okay. 102, and boom, it's gone. 1002 is gone. So that's the end of my presentation. Okay, thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Soumya Mehta, and I'm going to continue this presentation after how. So I'm going to do the question 3 and question 4 of this group project, and I'm going to use the same table names and column names which how I used to create the tables and create the columns. So yeah, let's start the presentation. So the first thing I'm doing here is server output on. So it gives the output to us on the log. And the first question is I have to use functions and procedure, and I have to list a movie which are available to rent out right now. So I have to give the names or the titles. So here I'm told to create a procedure. So I'll create a procedure naming rent out movies. I'll declare the titles like a variable which is title varchar 50, as I don't know how many variables it has or characters it has. I created a cursor, and what is inside the cursor, which queries inside the cursor, is basically select title from DVD, which is a table, and title is the column for the name of the titles, where rent out is no. So basically they are not rented out and they are available to rent out. So I'll open the cursor, I'll loop through the cursor, so I'll loop through all of the values. I'll exit when the cursor is not found or the cursor is not more, and if the cursor is there, I'll print out the values. I'll store the value into v titles here, you can see. So yeah, that is it. I end the loop, I close the cursor, and I end the statement. So let us try that out. I'll run this. Just a sec. I need to bring this out. Let's do it again. And do this. Okay, so you can see procedure rent out movie is compiled. I'll run it, and I can see anonymous block completed, and then I can see the other ones. So there are 4 of them. The second question is show the movies which has least renting cost and the highest renting cost, and display their names and titles. So I created a procedure again saying renting cost info. It has 2 variables which I declared them here, which is b least rent, that is varchar 50 again, and b most rent, that is varchar 50. I created a cursor, and inside the cursor the query is select title, because we need to give the title, the names and the titles. So I selected title from DVD where cost amount is. So for the first cursor, I'm giving the max amount, which is because the cursor will iterate through all the rows of them and select the max one, and the second cursor holds the value of the minimum one. And when I open the cursor, in the begin statement, I open the cursor, I fetch their values into v most rent and v least rent, which are the variables here, and I print the statement, which is min rented cost will be this, and I executed the query. So let us start right now. So yeah, the procedure is compiled, and let's execute it. And yeah, you can see the output right here. The min rented cost is for the movie Hairspray, and max rented cost is for the movie Elizabeth the Golden Age. So it looks great till now. Let's move on to the third question for question 3, C part for question 3. The question is show all the details of a customer and the movies she is renting. So I create a procedure which name is TechInf. I created a type of array customer which is exactly like the table of the customer. So the whole table customer's data type will be given to the type array underscore cust, which I created. Similarly, I created array underscore DVD, which will have the same data type as the DVD, I created two variables, that is cust, which has the data array cust, and dv, which has the data type arr underscore dvd. I am creating a cursor here which has the information of all the customers. So the query becomes select customer dot star everything from customer, and which is inner join with the table. So I am giving customer inner join DVD rental, which is combined with customer ID, and DVD rental and DVD, which is combined with tape ID. Similarly, for the second cursor, I am doing DVD star, so it holds the information about all the DVD stuff. Similarly, in the same way, I am taking it everything inside the DVD, and that goes. Then I begin the statement. I open the cursor, fetch one cursor into the bulk collect. So I have to use the bulk collect because it has a lot of data, and that is we are using the type, which is we are making a new type basically. So I pour them into cust. I close this one cursor. I open the cursor again. Bulk collect into dv. So I have all my data into cust and dv. I close the cursor. So we have our data into the variables. Now we don't need the cursor. So I close the cursor. I start a loop which runs from i.cust last, and it makes sense because the number of rows in cust and the number of rows in dv will be exactly equals. So the loop starts. I'm printing the customer's customer ID, customer's first name, customer's last name, because we are told to print all the information. So customer's phone number, birth date, and this columns will be accessed with the same name as it was in the customers, because here we are using the same row type. So everything will be same, including the column names. Yeah, so let's move on. I'm getting every column from the cust, and I'm also getting every column from the DVD table, which is DV. I just got them here, and I end the loop. So yeah, that's basically the procedure, and I execute the procedure here. So let's take a look at what it does. Yeah, so let's hit the output, and then yeah, it combines. Let me execute it, and yeah, here you can see all the four, which are basically what the question asked to us. Show all the details of the customers and the movie she is renting. So you can see Edward Wongspay has rented the movie Elizabeth. Edward Wongspay has again rented the movie The Bourne Ultimatum. Demi has rented the movie Ace, and Marcus Armstrong has rented the movie Shrek 2. So let's move on to the question number B, question 3 right now. So the question is, show the names of customers and the number of movies rented by him. So we're just going to show something from this output. So let's calculate it. You can see Edward has two things. So yeah, Edward will be, the value for Edward will be 2, and other Grim and Marshall will be 1 each. So let's see what the procedure does. I made a procedure and got it correct. I made a var name and an integer count. I created a cursor and looped it through the table. So cursor will be select first name, count the rental ID from customer, and I inner join the DVD and customer because they had to be inner joined and we have to take the common values from them. I did it through customer ID because that was the primary key and foreign key, and I grouped it by first name because we had to group this column to get the aggregate function on this column. So yeah, that is it. And then I start the main statement. I open the cursor, I went through a loop, I fetched the value of the cursor into vname and vcount for each of them. I told them to exit whenever cursor is not found, and if it is found, I print the following statement and end the loop and close the cursor. So that is basically it. Let's try it. Let's compile it. Let's set up the output now, and let me show you guys what happens when I compile it. Okay, so the procedure is compiled. and I'm gonna execute it. Yes, it's perfect. See, you can see the values, and if you remember, the guy Edward has two movies rented on his name, so we can see that Edward has two, and the other ones have one each. So that's what the question was asking. So let's move on to the question 4. And basically, what it asks from us is to keep a log of the update and delete operations of each table. So, if the user updates something or deletes something from some table, we should we should have a table in which we can keep the record of someone updated this table on this date and someone updated this thing. So let's create a table. I created a table log info which has three columns basically: the date of action, which is date, the action, that means delete or update, so where pattern, and the name of the table, which is the name of the table basically. So first let's look at the customer tables update trigger. So here we have a table customer, and I created a trigger which says create or replace trigger. So if there is a trigger, it will replace it. That is called cust trigger after update. So that means after update, which means after the update query is done, something is done on the customer table. So what we do on the table is insert the info inside login info. So after we created the table, we can see that I have created a trigger here which is called cust trigger, and this after update basically means after the update procedure is completed, I have to do something. So after the update procedure is completed on this table, that is the customer table, I have to do something. So do something is written after begin, and it says insert into log info. So I have to insert something in the table log info every time I insert or update into the table customer. What are we inputting in the log info table? That is sysdate. The sysdate will be going to this first column, that is date. The update string update will go into the action, and the string customer will go into the table name as this is the customer table. It's the same thing I did it with the delete trigger. I just had to change the delete string, the customer string, and the main thing is delete here. So this will happen after the delete operation is performed on the customer table. It is exactly similar to the upper one, but here we are using the delete and we're just typing in delete as new word. So let's check if you guys want. Let's select start from log info. As you can see, we have let me show you guys. We have 4 things here, and let's say when I update the name of some customer, let's say the customer ID is 3, and I update the name to Remy. I'll say update, and it says 1 row updated, so we're good till now. And this log should go into log info. So let's run this again. So you can see this query 5.8, so that is today's date, update on the table, and on which table, that is customer table. So yeah, that is a good example of what we did here. I'm sorry. So I created the same trigger for other functions, that is other tables, that is DVD. So I created a trigger here, and I'm inserting the same thing, but just update on the DVD table, so you'll get the same output but for DVD table. I also created a delete, and I repeated the same thing for film category table. Delete function for delete trigger for film category table, DVD rental update trigger, and DVD rental delete trigger. So this is all I did for the question 4, and my colleague Anuj will take on for the next part of the project.
Hi, my name is Anu Chaudhary, and I have done part B for the final group project, and part B has two questions in it. So the first is in which I have to use SI database to create a PLSQL script that uses cursor to print information for the customers who own a given make, model, and year of a car. So all these three values must be entered by the user. So in the first statement, I just set the server output on, and in the next three statement, here I'm getting car make, car model, and car year from the user. And in the declare section, I have declared seven variables. So all the seven variable relates to the customers. So customer name, customer street, customer city, and so on, so on. So okay, this variable is customer home phone number, and this is customer business phone number. This statement here I made a cursor called CUR, which is storing all the information from the customer table, and I named the customer table CUST, and here I'm comparing the values from which is entered by the user and from the table. Whenever these whenever this where clause is true, so what it does, it shows all the information in the cur in the cursor. And here in the begin section, I am opening the cursor, and this is starting off my loop. And what this statement is showing, it is fetching data from the cursor and storing in these variables which I've declared in the declare section. And here I'm printing all the customer details, like for the first customer, customer name, customer street, customer city, so on, so on. And this statement will execute whenever like cursor has nothing in it. So it will execute and it will come out of the loop. And basically this end of my loop, and here I'm closing my cursor and this meant and that's it. Okay, so talking about the second question, in this I have to create a procedure which accepts a customer name as an argument and displays the total amount the customer has spent buying cars. So I have to use I have to use car database in this. So this is my procedure name called total amount, and my procedure starts from here and ends here, and here like I checked my procedure is working fine or not. So I have used a parameter called customer name of type si.car.custName, and here I have declared a variable v total money spent, so which stores the total money that customer has spent on the cars. And in the begin section, this is my SQL statement. So what is showing, like it is calculating the total amount of which customer has spent on the cars and storing into the v total money spent. So here I'm just printing the total money spent by the user on the cars, and yep, and here I'm getting an input from the user, and here I just call my procedure, and yep, that's it. Thank you very much.